Alright, what's up? End of day 28 of 40 days of drumming. Can't believe it's going by this quick. I keep saying that, but it really is true. Um, yeah, my hip is doing a lot better. Still some soreness, so I was trying to do some work. I think it's kind of like if there's your spine and there's the hips and then the rib cage, there's that little space in between with some muscles in my low back that are pretty tight. So I've been laying on the tennis ball on them and trying to get them to release a little bit. Seems to be helping, but I'm able to play a lot more on the bass drum, and it's making me happy. Kind of decided I needed a narrowing of focus. I was reading some more of Effortless Mastery, the book, and he talks about to begin to become a master, you have to master some things. And oftentimes the problem is that you end up practicing too many different things. And I kind of knew that. I mean, I did know that, but then, like all these ideas start coming, and because I'm here and drumming, and I start writing stuff down, and then like that leads to other ideas, and there's all these things that I ultimately would like to master and to learn to do, and all of this stuff. So I have spent a lot of time kind of jumping around, causing me to not master any of it really. So I sat down, and in this little book where I've been writing ideas and rhythms and stuff, I sat down this morning and said, okay, well, I got 12 days to go. What if I want to master anything? I need to narrow the focus, and got really specific on, I'd had to really think. It was kind of an uncomfortable thing for me to sit there and go like, okay, well, I'm only going to do this for the next 12 days, because that's another part of the mind game. The monkey mind likes to jump around and do this and that and this and that and that and that, and there's all these other little thingies. There's always something else, and well, what about this? And then I can practice this, and then I can do this. But then you never, you don't dig in one place long enough to reach water. That's what we're going for, So it was pretty cool. Like a couple things even, I don't know, it was interesting even after making that decision and deciding and saying, okay, I'm just gonna play these things, which is still probably too big of a list for 12 days, because I wasn't even able to practice everything in one day. So I'm thinking that the list may have to be narrowed down even further. But at least having done that and having gotten specific and saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to try to master these things, my practice seemed a lot calmer in a lot of ways. There wasn't the kind of anxiety of this kind of, I guess, rush feeling, this feeling, and the feeling that there's not enough time, and that's the main thing, is that we're overwhelmed as musicians by how much stuff there is out there, how many possibilities there are out there that you want to practice and you want to learn all these different things. And there's so many different things, and we have the desire to like, wow, it'd be awesome to be able to play this like this guy, and that like that guy, and that like that guy, and that guy like that guy, and do this. And then I have this new idea where I want to try to develop this thing, and this and this and this and this and this. And there's all these aspects to this thing, but you know, you sort of scratch at this and scratch at that and scratch at that. You never master anything, so you know, it's kind of a plus. Along with all of that is this feeling of there not being enough time, and this kind of like anxiousness, this anxiety there, because you feel like, well, there's so much to do. There's too much. There's too much stuff to learn. I'm never going to learn it all. So that thought then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you then, you know, go through your practice sessions in such a way that you are never going to learn it all. So yeah, I've just been sitting down and like, okay, I just want to get down. You know, I have like these rhythms that I wrote down a whole ton of different rhythms, but then selected this page, or this, you know, there's like 10 variations on this one rhythm. Okay, I'm going to take that and do that with the kick drum and right left sticking, and go through that cycle. And so just sit on one rhythm until it's so comfortable that it's almost playing itself, you know. And that's what Kenny Werner's definition was, is that you have mastered something when it basically is playing itself without you having to think about it at all, you know, and playing itself at the level that you want it to be played at as well. So with that in mind, you know, I've spent the first almost month jumping all around, you know, and thinking that I was focused and everything, but it comes down to the last 12 days, and I finally actually am starting to get focused to where I think I can dig deep enough to reach water, you know, to really like get these things down. And that is what I'm hoping will be the biggest thing for me, to master a few things so that now I have like a standard. As I go back to the rest of my life, I have a standard by which to measure things, and can, you know, and a goal, and a workable goal. So then I can go and look at all of the rest of the things that I do, and measure them against that. Say, okay, this is what it took to get me to master these things. Now I need to go through those steps. And I'm sure as you begin to master stuff, you know, because I'm really working on a lot of stuff, I'm working at a kind of fundamental level. So as I master these certain things at a fundamental level, that's going to make all of my playing better, at least in theory, you know. But that, it just seems true, you know. It's I've seen kind of glimpses of that, you know, and like even in drum corps, if we would work on a double stroke roll exercise that in some ways had nothing to do with the show music, we would just focus on that and really get everybody good at that, and get the whole drum line playing as a unit on this exercise, then that would make all of this, the rest of the show music, that much better. So that's my hopes, and I'm starting to see where, um, you know, certain exercises that I've, certain rhythm patterns that I've written out, how useful they're going to be, and how much they're going to help. You know, because like I was breaking down a whole kit pattern to just the bass drum and the left hand, taking out the right hand part of it, which makes it a lot harder. And you know, there was this kind of quirk to it, this kind of not settling, not quite fitting in the groove. And I always thought, well, okay, well, it's probably the kick drum, and even though the kick drum part was simple, you know, and so I'd try to play the kick drum by itself, and that would feel okay. But then finally, for the first time, I just played the left hand part of it, and realized that that was the weakness, you know, and the left hand sitting on this rhythm, that it wasn't consistent with that one little, with its part. It didn't know its own part well enough. So I took that and just practiced my left hand for a long time, and got it until just felt solid, until the left hand like knew its part. Then put the right foot back in, and all of a sudden those two parts were working together better. You know, and I had practiced that before for long periods of time with just the two parts, and it was like, no matter how slow I would go, it just kind of wouldn't ever get better. You know, but lo and behold, I had to separate it again, and the left hand part ended up being a rhythm that I had chosen, from this one rhythm page. So it's just kind of showing me that I'm on the right path. I'm thinking the right way. I just, you know, yeah, things. It's good. It feels good to like kind of be at that point, you know, and to have my right foot feeling better, able to play more. I messed around with like the tuning of the bass drum and stuff like that to see if that would make things feel better, but didn't make that much of a difference. Yeah, I think that's about it. All right. Only 11 more days after this. It's getting crazy. See ya.